Hi, Robert. Welcome to From the Stage Door.
Hi, Rachel. Lovely to see you again.
You too. Right? All good, yeah. So my first question is, have you always had a passion for theatre and performance?
Yes, is the short answer. Yeah, from as far back as I can remember, really. My dad told me that when I was a toddler, 2 or something, we went to see some charity thing just at the local church hall. And the priest got up and did a song and dance in a tutu and a funny pink wig. And apparently I just found it the funniest thing and didn't stop laughing for maybe 10 years after that. So it's always been, yeah, so I just suddenly, yeah, from a very young age, from as far back as I can remember, I was really captivated by this thing that goes on between someone watching something and someone performing something. And it is a magic. And I was always excited by it. And then and growing up in Birmingham, like yourself, we were quite lucky that there was always lots of stuff on, the Alex and the Rep, and both reps. And so so I was able to go along and see quite a bit of stuff as I was growing up, and that just kind of fueled my passion. And then when I was about 7, I got in, because I was nagging my parents all the time saying, can we go see another play? And saying, we've got to save up, Jesus. But I just wanted to see plays and theatre. And then when I was about 7, I joined a youth theatre in Aldridge near Walsall. And I just got involved there and started doing plays all the time. So that's where it all started. But I think when I was very small, I was a real nerd. Still am, but I remember we had one of those old washing lines that you'd pull down on a pulley and it would come inside the house. And I used to use that as a curtain, and so I put a sheet over it somehow. Mum must have been wondering where all the sheets were. But I'd kind of get them and just come in and pull up the screen, pretend I was on stage, and put on one of their records, whether it was Gilbert and Sullivan or John Pertwee or whoever. I remember making up shows to all the Beatles albums that they had. I put on Yellow Submarine. I was like, oh no, the Blue Meanies are coming. So yeah, so yes, I always had a passion for it.
Cool. And what was your first professional theatre job?
My first professional theatre job after I left drama school was East is East at the Leicester Haymarket. And that was directed by Nona Shepherd. And a really, really lovely first job. I mean, a funny play, of course, by Ayub Khan Din to begin with. And and it was a really thrilling time. Just the excitement of having been sort of in training for 3 years, waiting to get on a stage again. And so to finally get there again and doing such, like I say, such a good play with such a lovely company, lovely cast. Some of whom I'm still in touch with today. Really, really lovely gig that. Leicester's a great city to perform.
Yeah, cool. So who would you say was your greatest influence growing up?
My greatest influence growing up. Well, do you mean artistically or in life or any of it?
Either, yeah.
Well, I suppose I was the youngest, so I looked up to my elder siblings, my brother and sister, quite a lot. And because I was so much younger than them, they used to, again, because I had this performative thing in me, they'd kind of have quite fun dressing me up and painting my face and all sorts of stuff because they knew I didn't really mind. So they were kind of idols. Sorry if you can hear noise in the background. We're having some work done to the house. Okay. So I had those kind of, and then there was this sort of people I was kind of, in life that I'd look up to, like, obviously growing up in the house I did, John Lennon was a big figure, as I was always drawn Bob Marley and all that kind of thing when I was young. I was always drawn to sort of rebellious but performative people.
And what would you say is the best piece of advice that you've ever been given? that like performance or life-wise?
It's quite common among actors and performers to say it at the start. Can you hear that, by the way?
Very lightly. It's okay, I can still hear you.
I should put earplugs in. Anyway, yeah, so what was the question again?
What's the best piece of advice that you've ever been given?
Yeah, so there's this thing that actors always say to each other, and which I thought was always very cruel. But when I was a young actor, all the older actors would kind of tell you something like, okay, right, good luck, don't screw it up. And it was sometimes stronger than that as well. So that was the kind of advice. And I thought, okay, I'll take that as advice to try and hold on to. And it got to the stage that even in my later career, I kind of was still amused by this. And then got to a stage, if I was rehearsing in London or something, if I'd have my script ready, and if I saw anyone influential in a bar or wherever we were in the rehearsal rooms, I'd ask them to sign the front of my script with "Don't screw it up" or words to that effect. And so I've got quite a collection now. There was one time I was at the airport. I was flying over to Cork to see relatives over there, and I bumped into Roy Keane, the footballer, who's from Cork, and I just got chatting to him. He was a very, very nice guy, and he's used to signing autographs and things all the time. And I just said to him, I said, "Sorry, this is really odd, Roy. I don't want to embarrass you, but would you mind signing my script? And would you mind signing it, 'Don't screw up'?" And he did. And then, but he sort of said, "Do you not think? Yeah, do you not want me to say like all the best or good luck or all the things that footballers normally write on things?" I said, "No, to be honest with you, if I've got you, Roy Keane, psychopathic captain of football teams, then I won't. I'll really behave and I'll really be good in it."
Yeah, that's true, actually. So what would you say is your favourite theatre to perform in?
Oh, that's a really good one. I've been very lucky. I've performed in so many wonderful places. But I think the one that's really got my heart and where I'd really want to perform again would be the Swan in Stratford-upon-Avon. I love that theatre. I remember going to it on school trips and just the wood and O and all that, and the classic playhouse feel, and I love being in the audience, feeling so close to the actors, and then when I got to perform there, just the feeling that the audience is on top of you, and yeah. Brilliant. And I haven't been there yet, but not in the main. I played the San Wanamaker at the Globe. I'd love to be on the main Globe stage as well, because that's just beautiful. But I've got a confession to make about the Globe, is that I have been on the Globe stage, even though I wasn't meant to be there. The very first couple of years it was open. So sorry, Mr. Rylance and all the security staff. But I was with John McEnery, who was a fantastic actor who's recently left us, and he he was quite a maverick, but he was playing. He was a regular there in the first few years at the Globe, and I said, "I'd love to be at the Globe," and he was from Birmingham as well, and he just goes, "All right, come on then, son." And he just dragged me out of. We were in a pub, and he just took me out of the pub, and we wandered over to the Globe. And obviously there wasn't any security or anything. How things have changed. He just kind of marched through, opened a door, and in we went, and passing through all these props and everything. And it was night time, and so he took us on the stage, and we just saw the moon and the stars, and it was stunning. And suddenly you understood a lot of why Shakespeare had written things the way he did. This wood and O, and the. Oh, it's just beautiful. And he just goes, "Right, give it a blast, son." so I just went out, gave it a little speech to no one. The blackbirds.
Brilliant. So when you perform him, do you get nervous? And if so, how do you deal with your nerves?
Yeah, sometimes I do, and sometimes I don't. I think sometimes, when there's unnecessary or unrealistic pressures put on press nights and opening nights and all that kind of thing, and And for me, an audience is an audience, whether it's a first preview or the 300th time you do it. I've always kind of had that. So as I've got older, I've got more chilled about it, I think, or you know, less nervy. But sometimes nerves are good. But I think it's excitement and adrenaline going through you, and I think channeling, that's the exciting part. There are some times where you know, you do get the fear, and you know, when you, those thoughts of why the hell do we do this for a living go through your head. But then you know, if you've been trained and you've been, you know, got a bit of experience, you can breathe it out and channel it in that way. But I've got to say, I mean, I've been doing a solo show for a few years now, on and off, and the first time I did that, that was sheer terror. I was really nervous doing that because, well, not only was it the first time I'd been on stage on my own and having to hold a show, but I'd written it with a colleague of mine, and we'd, you know, so it was the first. So I was just thinking, like, there's nothing to hide behind. I can't hide behind Shakespeare or the director or the production. It's all my fault. Everything I'm about to do is my fault, and that was nervous. That was nerve-wracking, especially because it also, as part of it, it features Phil Lynott, who is the lead singer of Thin Lizzy, an iconic kind of rock star who has mythological god status, particularly in Ireland, but amongst his loyal band of supporters. And as I was walking into the theatre, this was at the Edinburgh Fringe, as I was walking into the theatre, I saw like a few sort of middle-aged men and women with Thin Lizzy t-shirts, and you know, they knew him. And so that was really scary. But again, you just get out there, and then once you're on, you let everything else take over. Hopefully your memory of take over of all the things you've been working on.
Yeah, it is a strange profession when you think about it. You go, why am I doing this?
Yeah, you come home sometimes and it's sort of like, if it's a night show, you know, see my kids in the morning. They go, what did you do at work last night, Daddy? Well, probably not like most of the other daddies around here.
Yeah. So what would you say has been your most challenging role to date?
Oh, that's another good one, Rachel. There's been a few, which again is a lucky thing to be challenged all the time. But I think Macbeth, playing Macbeth, was really challenging and physically and mentally grueling. And it was a tour as well. So touring is tiring and takes its toll. So that was a real challenge. And you know, you're putting yourself, you know, even though it's pretending essentially, but you know, for those 3 hours or, you know, 4 hours prep, you are putting yourself in the mindset of a psychotic killer who's murdering people, who's manipulating. You've got to find a way to connect to yourself. What would the Rob murderer do? You know, so that was really challenging. Yeah, putting yourself in, and it's very difficult as well afterwards, getting out of. You have to then, you know, you take the applause and then you go back to your dressing room, and if you're on tour, you say, right, I just wander back to my digs now and try and wind down somehow from all that.
Yeah.
That was challenging.
Cool. So during the work you've done, what's been the funniest thing that's happened to you on stage?
Oh man, yeah, I funniest thing that happened. I'm going to sound really boring. So I can't. Nothing funny has ever happened to me on stage. No, I suppose funny things happening on stage usually means things going wrong. And I suppose if things go wrong, something kicks in, and you suddenly say, right, something's going wrong. How do we trick the audience not to think that something's gone wrong? And I suppose the sort of plays or shows I've done don't lend themselves to too much kind of audience in on the joke thing. And so it's just a question of sort of trying to hold it all together the best way one can. And I suppose another thing is sometimes it's hard to relate stories like that because because often it's if something is funny on stage or something tickles you inside or something, it's usually very funny for 1 second between you and whoever you're on stage with. Then you say, oh yeah, and then you said that, and it's really probably not very funny. I haven't got enough funny experiences to tell you about, I suppose, because I'm so damn professional and keep everything under control. Don't know what I'm blathering on about there.
So from the projects you've done, have you ever kept any props or costumes to take home with you?
No, never. Sometimes. Yeah, I mean, there's hats and coats and things. I mean, usually they you know, I don't steal them. I'm not, you know, not an animal. You know, usually, yeah, sometimes if I take a shine to something, a really nice shirt or something, I do that. I usually do take the show socks away with me.
Mm.
Wardrobe department is giving you socks, then they've usually got your name sewn into them, and you've been wearing them on and off for possibly months. Because I don't see any reason why anyone would want to wear them after that. So yeah, so my show sock collection must be as long as the M1 by now.
That's pretty good, to be fair. I do like that. Just have a special drawer for show socks.
A special room for all my show socks.
So what advice would you give to your younger self?
Oh, so I'd like to give my younger self a bloody good talking to. but no, I think one of the, I think there'd be I think it would be yourself and stop worrying about, or I think sometimes I still do. I'm still guilty of this, which is really naive, but I think it's stop being who you think they want you to be. Do they want me to be kind of like this, or do they want me to be like a serious actor? You know, just be go and be yourself and trust the work you've done, the work for an audition or something. So I think that's the advice I'd give to my younger self.
Yeah, that's good. I like that.
Do the work and stop worrying so much.
It's hard though, isn't it? We're all worriers.
It's really hard as well, especially, you know, the nature of it means, you know, you might suddenly, you know, you might have a television audition or something. You think, oh God, I haven't done telly for ages, or I haven't even had a TV audition for a while. So suddenly you're sort of panicking about, God, can I remember how to do it? And all these constant worries, like, do I even know how to act anymore? You know, you suddenly find yourself very kind of utterly insecure as you have always been before. You know, you've had it's silly. It's just silly.
Yeah. What would you say would be your dream role to do?
Oh gosh, that's a really good one. Dream role. Oh, it's kind of it's getting harder because as I'm getting older as well, you just think, well, what, Leah? I don't know. You know, thinking like, well, you know, all these parts for, you know, when you're 25 and muscles and all that. That's great, but yeah, for a dream role. Okay, right. I've got. Let's do it. I'd like to play. I've never done a musical, for many obvious reasons I can imagine. But I like playing rebels. I like playing big rebels. So I suppose someone like I don't know, in a musical, someone like Shay in Vita, someone angry and cynical. I've been very lucky. There's lots of parts I have played that I always wanted to play. Like I always wanted to play Jaques in As You Like It. I love him. In fact, the first time I saw that done was John McHenry, who I mentioned earlier. Macbeth is someone I always wanted to play. I remember my dad reading Macbeth to me when I was a kid because I liked to hear the funny voices he did for the witches and things. But no, I think I suppose another thing as well is I haven't really got a dream job because the roles you get are often out of your hands. And so you could sort of say, oh God, I just want to be Hamlet. That's all I want to do. I want to be Hamlet. I want to be Hamlet, and I'm going to be a big failure if I don't. And then you sort of think, no one's asking me to do Hamlet. I don't understand it. And then, of course, it's just an unnecessary pressure. Yeah. So my Alf Garnett. I'd love to play Alf Garnett. Wrong casting, maybe, but I don't know. It's 2021. Who knows?
Anything's possible.
Yeah. An Alf Garnett for our age. That's what I'd like to do.
Yeah, definitely. What would you say has been your most surreal moment when performing?
Oh man, a lot of out of body experiences on stage. I can't remember. I remember playing, I was really young to play Prospero. I played Prospero for Tara Arts in The Tempest. And I don't know, I was in one of the big speeches and something just triggered in my mind and I lost the thread of the lines. But I was in the kind of Shakespeare groove and I just carried on. And I don't know what words came out of my mouth. I was still an iambic pentameter. And all the time just kind of blithely wandering away through my words, trying to remember what was coming next. And I think there's something about elves. So I managed to get myself back on track, but that was surreal. Another surreal moment was I was doing a show in Dublin, and and as I was doing, I finished the show. It was my solo show, and it was one of these where the stage is on the floor, so the audience is kind of raked up, around you. And so I did my bow, and my my wife's uncle, who's about 5 foot, tiny, and he was just clapping, and he just walked onto the stage, and he just gave me a hug, and I was like, hasn't really finished yet. There's still a number to do. And it was lovely, but utterly surreal. Another time I was doing Much Ado About Nothing, the RSC, and it ends. It was the All Indian version with Meera Syal and the late great Paul Bhattacharjee, we ended with a big Bhangra dance, and as we often do with Anisha, and if it's got Indians in it, we're going to end with a Bhangra dance. Everyone clapping, right? But anyway, yes. So we're doing that, and we ended with this big Bhangra dance, and I don't know. That's my Bhangra dancing again. Maybe that's why I don't get musicals. Okay, so and someone in the front row was loving it so much, and they were kind of dancing in their seat, and they suddenly jumped up on stage and were joining the circle, and they were giving the whole Punjabi, and I was going, Jesus, this isn't meant to happen. And because I was playing Friar Francis in our version Pandiji, so I had the sort of spiritual and moral authority to kind of just say, thank you, could you please go? So to usher him back. I've got another surreal moment, and I was in the wings, another production of As You Like It on tour in Poole, in the Lighthouse in Poole, and there were 2 people on stage giving their scene, and suddenly we just heard at the back someone shouting out, "Get off, you're rubbish!" And the language is a little bit stronger than that. And we were just going, did that just happen? Did I just hear that right? And it was just all the stage manager in the wings go, I don't know what to do. And the 2 actors on stage, absolutely mortified, because obviously they thought they were being heckled personally, but they carried on the scene. Anyway, we found out later that the people who shouted that out weren't watching the show at all. So they weren't just angry hecklers, but they were kids from local kids. And they had this, so what they did was, because lots of the front of house staff were elderly, I think that's the reason, and they just love to tease the less mobile front of house staff at the Lighthouse in Poole. And so they just ran around, they're just trying to escape through and break through, and this is what they did every Saturday. There's a part of me just thinking that, oh, this is terrible, yeah, that poor actors, and it's disrupted it for the audience. But then the other part of me was thinking, what inspired vandalism? You know, I mean, I'm one, you know, it's Saturday afternoon, saying, what are we going to do? We're going to smash up a bus shelter. Nah, let's go down the theatre and have a go at the local touring actors. Give them some grief for being on the road, having the audacity to perform in our town.
That is weird. That is really weird.
Lots of surreal moments. More surreal moments.
Yeah. So you're having a dinner party. You can invite any three guests, dead or alive. Who do you invite?
Only three?
Only three. It's a very small table.
Do I have to be there? Can I just usher and serve drinks? All right, okay. Oh man, that's really hard to narrow it down to three. But Nelson Mandela, Rick Mayall. Oh God, there's too many. Lindsay Hilson from Channel 4 News.
Okay. I mean, it's conversation and entertainment, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, that's the thing. I mean, that's with people like with anyone I'd want to invite. I'd just be shut up in the corner. You can't, please carry on. I've got nothing to possibly improve on anything coming out of your mouths.
Okay. So, quick fire round to finish off. Ready? Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Sun or rain? Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Sweet or savoury?
Savoury.
Comedy or tragedy?
Oh, they're the same thing. You ask Chekhov. It's the same thing.
Musical or play?
Play.
Meat or veg?
Veg.
Hugs or kisses?
Hugs. We're missing hugs, man. Can't wait. Hugging again.
Yeah. Night out or night in?
Now, I would say a night out.
Yeah. Tour or West End run?
Oh, West End run.
Favourite film?
Oh, Deer Hunter, Godfather, Deer Hunter, Godfather. All About Bob.
Okay.
Deer Hunter.
Favourite book?
1984.
Good choice. And last one, ultimate comfort food?
Cheddar cheese. Strong, mature cheddar cheese.
Good choice. Robert, thank you so much for joining me. It's been lovely having a chat and catching up.
Lovely to see you again, Rachel. Thanks for having me. And
yeah,
keep on keeping on. We'll all come out of this and we'll be singing and dancing and laughing again soon.
We will, definitely. And hope to see you soon. Take care. Bye.
Rachel, bye-bye.